Okay, now yoga, what you said was more internal, similar to the company. These are the things which are happening. But to the naked eye, you see a person in a posture. So talking about the financials of the company, because that's what an analyst would see from outside, are they going to be in line, aligned? You spoke about the cost structure. Are we seeing margins going to improve? You spoke about international markets. Do we expect revenues to improve, the profitability?
Yeah, I think this should be a good year in terms of results. And I'll tell you why. As I said, half of what we make is exported. If you look at the last 6 months since October 16, our export markets have slowly but surely come back. And we are doing much better than we were at this time last year, for example. So that's good. Exports will help the process. We have done very well with our new launches in the domestic three-wheeler market. And that is being a niche, a very profitable space for us. We are a little disrupted by this demonetization business. And right now we are going through the labor pains of GST. But I think once that is behind us, maybe in July or August, I think for the rest of the financial year, I think the domestic CV business will also do very well. And as I was explaining earlier, we have some very exciting launches lined up in the domestic motorcycle space between July and December. Existing brands, new brands, the smaller bikes, bigger bikes. So all in all, I think it's going to be a very good year for Bajaj.
What kind of alignment are you taking as far as the GST disalignment is concerned? What kind of breath are you taking? And secondly, how is the latest asana that you learned, the Dominar?
I am not waiting to exhale as far as GST is concerned, because frankly, I am not sure even today as we speak whether it will actually be implemented on the 1st of July. So we think we are prepared, as most people do, but frankly we discover every day that there is some aspect that has not been thought through at our end, or a dealer in a part of the country comes up with a question that we are not able to immediately clarify. So this tells me that we are far from that point.
Are you breathing out heavy discounts?
We're breathing out. Well, we have put out prices which are the equivalent of GST prices. So that's on the mat already. So what we are saying effectively to consumers is that you don't have to pause in your movement. Come in.
Are they pausing?
And they are pausing right now. Right now, sales are down year on year. Hopefully, we've just put this offer out, so hopefully consumers will come back. But all said and done, one can explain things as logically as one wants to. But when there is uncertainty, people prefer to wait it out. So that's one part of your question. And the Dominar is doing very nicely. I think domestically now we are around 2,000 units a month. More importantly, qualitatively, people that have bought it just love it. People didn't expect Bajaj to make a motorcycle that's so big and so expensive. So it takes a little time for them to absorb that thought. But they love it. They really enjoy it.
Are you happy with the way it's done so far?
I'm very pleased, of course, because it's the first time we've actually moved above. It's the next asana, as you say, because Pulsar Avenger is at one level, and this is quite another level as a 400cc, 35 horsepower motorcycle. We are now exporting perhaps to 20-30 countries. I just did an export review earlier this week. In the July-September quarter, we are looking at about 6,000 Dominars to be exported. That's about 2,000 a month, which is very nice. So I think by the end of the first half, if we are anywhere around 5,000 motorcycles a month in this segment, and if you were to compare this with what a Honda does or a Yamaha does, you would see that this is outstanding, because it's not a cheap motorcycle. People are paying over ₹1.5 lakh for this, and I think that's fantastic.
Now the future electric Asan, how do you see that?
Electrifying. We have to be careful that our batteries are correctly charged for this Asan. I think personally that there is a little too much haste right now in the ecosystem, so to speak, trying to push electric vehicles forward. I think about what happened with the Dreamliner, what happened with Samsung phones last year. It's the same lithium-ion battery. I think the technology is very new. I mean, we've been making IC engines for the longest time. We still make mistakes. So I fear that if we as an industry go too quickly into too many vehicles, too many segments, with too many different approaches, and try to make hundreds of thousands of vehicles available, say next year, I think I would worry about that. As far as we are concerned, we will take two cautious steps in the next 2 to 3 years with 2020 BS6 regulations in mind. One, to defend our existing business, which is the three-wheeler business. Sooner or later, we will have an electric three-wheeler, definitely before 2020. And I think that it has great merit, because somebody who drives the three-wheeler for 150, 200 kilometers a day can definitely immediately feel the cost advantage from fuel and maintenance. And the other would be to create a new electric brand itself. I'm a firm believer that just slapping batteries onto an existing vehicle doesn't do justice to electric technology.
Right.
It must be made to look like it has its own identity, it's sexy in itself, it can create its own market, and for that one must create a new brand. And again, sometime before 2020, we are working on these products.
You touched upon BS6, so the BS3, BS4, are those things now balanced and there's everything behind us?
I think so. I think at the end of March, people liquidated whatever stocks they could of the BS3. Companies that had large stocks have paid a heavy price in the process. Those like us who had virtually no stock, I mean, we were fine. BS4 is now implemented.